Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, we meet French farmer Laura Chalendard, who reported a sexual assault back in 2023 and when no charges followed, launched a farming MeToo movement to empower women to speak out against sexual violence. Also, how perimenopause and menopause in female employees is worsening Germany's labour shortage and prompting a number of companies to confront what has been regarded as one of the last workplace taboos affecting women. And a team of elderly women in eastern Uganda use cricket to ease stress and feel loneliness while staying on the front foot against health challenges. But first, and when Laura Chalendard, French farmer, was sexually assaulted in 2023, she immediately reported it to the police. But when no charges were pressed, she went on to launch the French farming MeToo movement. The aim to free women from the isolation they might feel in rural areas in France in the face of sexism and sexual violence, while encouraging them to speak out. Anais Chanel and Antonia Kerrigan have this report.
Allez, viens! Venez!
Laura Chalendard was not born into farming, but it is her calling and has been since she was a teenager. In 2023, though, she suffered a shock that changed her life. It happened after a village dance.
Je me suis réveillée, il y avait un gars que je connaissais pas du coup qui
I woke up and there was a guy I didn't know who was there with me.
Et enfin j'ai rien dit,
I didn't say anything. Well, I told him to leave, but I didn't tell anyone at the dance. And a few months later, I learned that this wasn't the first time he had done this.
En tout cas pour lui, c'était pas la première fois.
Laura reported her sexual assault the next day, but no charges were brought. And a second victim went to the police a year later.
Tout le monde le savait quoi, tout son entourage.
Apparently everyone knew about it. Everyone around him. Everyone who gravitated around him knew he was like this. And in the end, it didn't seem to bother anyone.
De déranger personne.
In 2023, she launched the Instagram account MeToo Agricole, and it attracted hundreds of contributions. Women opened up about sexist jokes on the farms where they worked, as well as unreported crimes of sexist and sexual violence, never spoken of until now.
De toute façon,
There is a cult of virility in the rural world.
de la virilité. C'est un peu la détestation.
It's pretty much a loathing of anything that can be seen as in any way feminine.
Féminin, quoi.
Women are in the minority in the profession, and on smaller farms are often completely surrounded by men. The online community offers them a network of female solidarity where they are safe to speak out.
Si j'avais un conseil à donner,
If I were to give one piece of advice to any woman who is a victim, it's to think first and foremost of herself, not of the consequences it could have for those around her or her farm,
les conséquences,
but to focus on the consequences it could have for her to say nothing.
pense plus aux conséquences pour elle de ne rien dire, quoi.
Laura's fight for equality isn't just online. To push back on structural sexism in agriculture, she has put together an all-female team on her farm. 40% of pupils at French agricultural schools are girls, but less than a third of farms are woman-run.
Now, while Germany faces a persistent shortage of skilled labour, one factor remains largely ignored: the impact of perimenopause and menopause on female employees. And an estimated 1 in 10 women have left the workplace or plan to stop work because of menopausal-related symptoms. 1 in 4 are reducing their working hours. As a result, an increasing number of German companies are seeking to address one of the last taboos in the workplace, as our team on the ground report.
These women between 50 and 60 years old are now the focus of attention within their company in Hamburg, They are going through perimenopause, a phase that can last from 10 to 15 years before menstruation ends, a subject that has long been taboo and yet particularly trying for some women like Martina.
It started with moments where I slept poorly, I couldn't concentrate, I was very emotional, something I didn't recognize in myself.
Like her, 80 to 90% of women suffer from symptoms related to menopause. So here, they decided to take action.
Here we have a shower in case we sweat a lot and need to freshen up.
Starting with the facilities. But for Martina, it's mainly flexible hours that make the difference.
What really helps is the flexibility we're given in terms of hours and location. Being able to say, I got up this morning but don't feel good, and can actually choose to work from home, or start a little later, finish earlier, and get some rest.
Pioneer, this major textile brand, now caters to the needs of its employees. Today, the company's health managers are taking online training to better understand the issues surrounding menopause.
Studies show us that women aged 55 and over want to retire earlier.
During this period, 1 in 4 women reduced their hours, even though they are at the peak of their skills.
For me, it was precisely during this period that my peak performance began, and I still have it. My children are no longer at home, they can manage without me with the grandchildren. For women, this is truly the time when you can give it your all. To give that up would be a big mistake.
In the midst of a labour shortage, many companies are now following this path. The 45 to 55-year-olds now represent the largest age group on the German labour market, and they are precisely the ones being hit hardest. In Berlin, Nicola Hochkeppel left 20 years in cultural PR after she started going through perimenopause.
When it started, it completely took me by surprise. I had no idea what was happening to me or to my body. A friend then said to me, you know, it could be hormones. And then I thought, what? Hormones?
This realisation led her to a career change. She founded a private menopause consulting practice and campaigns for better treatment.
All women aged 40 and over should receive an information sheet explaining that if they experience the following symptoms, muscle and joint pain, sleep disturbances, difficulty concentrating, it could be menopause. So go see your gynecologist or menopause counsellor.
Once a month, Nicola also opens the doors of her salon to host a gathering, open to all, where experts freely exchange information on women's health.
Today, here are the 3 themes. Taboo, women over 50, and sex.
It's precisely thanks to this kind of group that we feel we're not alone, and it gives us the courage to speak more openly.
Tonight, there are about 20 women and a few men.
It's not just women who are affected. Indirectly, all men are too, because all men have wives, partners, mothers, sisters, cousins, friends. In principle, it concerns everyone.
Circles like this are emerging all over the country, and the issue has even made its way into Parliament. A few months ago, for the first time in its history, the Bundestag debated menopause in a full plenary session. The issue is now included in the government's coalition agreement, a step forward championed in particular by this CDU MP.
First, there's the economic cost, 9.4 billion euros. And of course, it also affects the women themselves. It's not just about money. We're talking about millions of women affected. It's important that we finally bring this issue out of the shadows and talk about it openly, because that's the only way we can improve conditions. And much medical research remains based on studies and diagnoses of men. That has to stop.
The Department of Health has just launched a national dialogue with healthcare professionals and associations. The aim is to establish perimenopause as an occupational health issue.
And finally, the tale of an unusual group of cricketers. A group of elderly women in eastern Uganda have formed their very own team, and it's helping them to manage stress, loneliness and problems linked to physical health, as Andrew Hillier reports.
With the swing of a bat, these elderly women are proving that cricket is not just a gentleman's game. Known as the cricket grannies, they gather once a week on this field in eastern Uganda. A short time ago, they knew nothing about the sport. Now it's the antidote to stress, loneliness, and even physical pain.
I found that my stress levels have fallen since I started coming here. Also, with the exercises I've been doing, my legs used to hurt, but not anymore.
When I stay home, it gets boring and lonely. But when I come here and play cricket with my friends, I feel joyful and alive.
For these women, aged between 50 and 90, cricket has become their Saturday morning ritual in the remote village of Kivumbuka. Initially aimed at children, coach Aaron Kusasira was stumped when some of their caregivers refused to let them play. So he had an idea: get the women involved too.
We come here, we jog, we move around, we do some stretches to help them also physically and also mentally, because when they come around and they talk, jazz, sing some songs, and you hear some stories from them, you feel like, yeah, it's something which can release their pain in the heart, what the stress they have.
From boosting mental health to fostering a sense of community, the positive effects go well beyond physical activity. Easy to see then why these women have been bowled over by the sport.
Great to see, and that's it for this edition. So until our next show, bye for now.